Good evening. I have a great show this afternoon. We often have someone on our show that's eager to serve as a candidate for a public office. And I am so excited to have this young man on tonight because he has a lot to tell you about what's going on in here in the city and the state. Help me to welcome Mitch Ellerby back to the Addie Brent Show. How are you this afternoon?
Addie, I'm doing fine, and thank you for inviting me on the show and your viewers to take time to watch. And because there's a lot of information I like to share with them and you.
Okay, well, what have you been doing exciting? I know you're running for office of state representative.
Well, one thing, I'm glad that this opportunity came because I want to help bring prosperity back to Moss Point and also Pascagoula too, because I represent Moss Point and Pascagoula. And I get an enjoyment out of working with the public, working with our city and county officials to help improve our educational system and for also to work with existing businesses and bring new business and industry to Jackson County and to Moss Point and Pascagoula because we need jobs.
We need jobs. Now, Mitch, you were elected state representative some years ago. How long did you serve as state representative?
I served approximately 8 years, Addie, and it was very interesting and very fulfilling.
Okay.
Because I had gentlemen there, the late Teddy Millett and also the late Jim Simpson, who took me under their wing, and they worked with me. And I learned a lot on how the legislative process worked.
Okay.
And it's very important because once you learn that and understand that, then you know how to go and get legislation passed, introduce legislation and get it passed.
You know how to go forward.
Yes,
yeah,
move
absolutely.
forward.
So what do you think you can achieve now as a representative that you didn't achieve years ago?
Well,
anything in particular?
When I go back, I can achieve some things because I have the knowledge and the wisdom and the maturity on how to deal with people and how to work with groups, how to reach across the aisle to our Republican counterparts and our independent counterparts, and use your legislative skills to get, I guess you say, get legislative passed that will benefit your constituents in your area, benefit the state, so that we can move forward.
Do you think that enough is being done at this point to what can you do to improve our community as a whole? Because I know there's a lot needs to be done here in Moss Point, Pascagoula, and this area.
There is so much to be done. First of all, we must learn to work together.
Okay.
And in order to do that, we must communicate with each other. The citizens have to learn to communicate with their elected officials. The elected officials communicate with each other. And from that point, if there is something need to be done, the local elected officials can draw up a resolution, and then you take that resolution and get your bill drafted up and introduce it. And then you sit down with the speaker and the chairman of the committee and members of the committee and also members of the House and on the Senate side also to do the same thing, because it's very important, because sometimes one man's or one woman's idea can mean a lot to the whole state. So that's why I'm saying we need to communicate, work together in all forms of government. We need to go to Washington. You know, we have to get with our congressional leaders, and I'm willing to do that.
Okay. So how is it that local citizens will be able to get a chance to communicate with people like you?
All they have to do when they see me on the street, see me in the store, sit down under the tree of life sometime and just sit and talk, because you'll be surprised the idea that people have. A lot of people are afraid, but majority of the people know me. I'm easy to communicate with.
Yep, you've been around a long time.
And I've been around a long time.
Right.
I've lived in Jackson County for 41 years now.
Okay.
And it's very important to me that people be heard. And if they need to be heard through my voice, I can do that. You know, I know how to speak at the right time, at the right place. I'm not afraid to stand up to challenges because, you know, if I can serve my country, I want to serve Moss Point, Pascagoula, Jackson County, and the state of Mississippi.
Is there any one particular law that you would like to see passed if you were elected as a state representative?
There are several items that I like to see pass. I would like to, number one, education is very important to me. is very important to our children, the future growth of Mississippi. Because if you have an educated workforce, you have a sound-proof workforce. We have the preschool, our educational system with our high school is incorporated with that. You have junior colleges and colleges. What we have to do is prepare our children for them. And you do early intervention. It's very important to have early intervention. When I say early intervention, I'm talking about preschoolers, kindergarten, first graders who come on up. If there are issues that we need to identify, then with the right parenting help, the teachers won't have a problem identifying if there's a problem with a learning skill, then they can teach that. That's why I'm supporting this core curriculum. It's very important so everybody be on the same page, so when it comes time for our children to be tested, they can not only compete locally, they can compete globally. And we have some very smart students here. And all I've asked is parenting get involved so that we can move forward, help our teachers, help our administrators, so that we can become a good force to reckon with.
I know the charter school bill did not pass, so what do you think about the charter school?
The charter school depends on how you look at it and how it's being used. Now, down in the New Orleans area, I've had opportunity to talk with some administrators there, but that was a Pacific Design charter school.
Okay.
Here in this area, I don't want to do anything that's going to undermine public education. Right now, I think we need to take a strong, closer look at charter schools from both sides, and I'm willing to sit down with both sides of the aisles to let's look at it until I'm convinced that charter school is good for our district, but right now I'm not convinced on it.
Okay.
So I think, as far as I'm concerned, we need to hold tight on charter schools. Let's go back and review it so that we can see what we're doing, because what the most important thing is our children.
Education, great education for
Yes.
our children. Now, what is your thoughts on the open carry gun law? This is an issue to me.
The open carry gun law,
That's an issue to me.
when they put that together,
Okay.
it was well thought through, but there were some questions about it. Now, I have a permit.
Okay.
I abide by the law.
Do we have to have a permit to carry that gun?
My understanding, you don't have to have a permit, but
Wow.
I advise everyone, go ahead and get a permit. It keeps law enforcement, everybody on a level playing field to know that John Doe out here has a permit, although you have the right to carry one in a holster.
In a holster?
In a holster.
Okay.
But now you must observe the signs that said no firearms permitted on this property.
So I can walk around with my gun in a holster.
Yes.
I would look kind of dumb, I think, but I wouldn't do it though. I wouldn't even.
The
think
main
about
thing
doing
about that is just you have to, now businesses and in public places, they have signs up.
Yeah.
And now all we
No
do is
guns
ask the
permitted.
people to
Right, okay.
respect that until the legislature can go back, revisit that. But as it stands now, the open carry law is law.
You know, I know you're a veteran.
Yes, I am.
Give me a rundown on your military career, because military is important to our country. So give me a rundown on your military career.
How I got involved in becoming a veteran, I got drafted.
Okay.
And I cried like a baby. But it was very important to me once to serve my country, because my family believed in America. I believe in America. And when I first got drafted, I was trying to figure out, like any other young man, what am I going to do? Well, what I did, I put my best foot forward. I was going to be all that I could be in Uncle Sam's Army. So when I wanted to fly a helicopter, and the gentleman told me, the sergeant said, "You can't do it, you wear glasses." I said, "Well, what's the next best thing? Can I work on them?" He said, "Yes." So I wound up going to Fort Rucker, and from Fort Jackson to Fort Rucker, from Fort Rucker to Fort Bragg, where I was assigned my unit, 45th Medical Dust-Off. And next thing I know, we were going to Vietnam.
Wow.
And I stayed in Vietnam, where we were a helicopter mechanic with support unit for the 93rd Evac Hospital. We did everything from being a mechanic to a crew chief to a door gunner.
So you had a great career.
So I had a great career, and I learned a lot.
Right. Now, the president may attack Syria. What are your thoughts or what are your concerns about Syria?
Well, being a veteran, my views are different from those who are not a veteran.
Okay.
My thing is, I don't like the idea of people being killed using nerve gas. The general public never seen what nerve gas will do to a person's body,
Right.
and how they react and how they lose control of all of their just all of their body functions, and then a lot of it results to death. So therefore, as far as Syria is concerned, you have people in place that have gone out, they have assessed the situation, they see what's going on. The more I guess our military is informed, which they have been informed, the more decision that they can make against Syria. My thing is, whatever we do,
Okay.
I'm supporting the United States behind it.
Right.
Because if I'm called tomorrow to go to war, I'm ready to go.
I heard. That's great. Now, you've had a decent work experience. Explain your work experience so the people know what you're capable of doing.
My work experience has been, I guess, very interesting, because when I came back from Vietnam, I worked in the television station to learn I wanted to see what the media was all about. And from there, I went to Sears in the management training program in Orlando, Florida. I came to Mississippi here as a manager with Sears, and I left there and worked with Head Start for a while, and with the late Mamie B. Fairley and others. And that was a new learning experience, working with children. That's where I got the concept about preschoolers and how important it is. Then I did longshoreman work with Mr. Ronnie Robinson, longshoreman here. I didn't realize that was so vital to the economy. Okay, you hear a lot of horror stories, but I learned a lot. I wasn't an engineer, but when I can see guys who can load a ship and unload a boxcar, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, but it takes skills.
Right.
So from there, I went out to Chevron Oil Refinery, and I stayed there for 17 years, and I retired. And it afforded me the opportunity to become a consultant and do startup commissioning work. Then I had the bright idea I wanted to work in the shipyard. I got the opportunity to be a painter because I wanted to see what was the average worker doing in the shipyard, and I learned a lot. They work hard.
They work hard, yeah.
And I respect them.
Right, right.
So from that, then I had the opportunity to become an elected official, and I also served on Jackson County Port Authority as a port commissioner appointed by Governor Winters.
Okay.
And also Dick Moblins appointed me to the Tideland Wetland Commission to look at what we are now enjoying, the Tidelands Fund.
Okay, so you've had a great experience.
Yes, I have.
You know what? We're gonna talk to you just a little bit more. We're gonna have to take a break, but we're gonna come back in just a moment, and we're gonna talk to Mitch Ellerby just a little bit more. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Addie Brent Show. Mitch Ellerby is my guest this afternoon. He is the candidate for a state representative, District 110.
District 110.
And I'm so glad you're here. But let's go a little bit further. We live here on the beautiful Gulf Coast. Explain your plans for economic growth and tourism development.
Eddie, that's very, very easy to explain, because the Gulf Coast, we were, I guess as far as tourism is concerned, we could be #1, and as far as I'm concerned, we are #1.
Okay.
And we are #1 in economic development growth, although there are some areas of the states that are moving by leaps and bounds, but we have everything we need to grow. Tourism is very important to this area. Moss Point and Pascagoula is a sleeping giant right now. All we have to do is come out, develop a program, present it to the public, because if you look at the hundreds of thousands of people that travel up and down the I-10 corridor, it's an opportunity that we need to come in. We've looked at the growth and development of our Audubon Society. Also, we're looking at waterfront development and port activities. The Maritime Division is an opportunity for Moss Point right now. And the reason I'm saying, because Pascagoula is well developed, they're looking for other opportunities, but I'm willing to support both cities any way we can as far as further development. But right now, with the opportunity of waterways, rail, highways, and also its airports. Those are all, and land. We have that. All we have to do now is put this package together. I'm willing to work with the local elected officials, the county officials, as well as state and federal officials to bring some investors here so that we can get the ball moving, get some jobs here, and make some things happen. Now on I-10, I'm also very interested in developing the I-10 corridor development. Well, what is that?
What is that? Yes.
That means that you take all of the exits and the land on each side of I-10. That can be developed into a golf course. They can also be developed into hotels, restaurant, because when people are traveling, and I forgot to tell you, Addie, I drive bus for Hotard transportation.
Okay.
So I get a chance to travel all over the United States, like I did when I was doing consultant work. I worked in Canada.
Oh, okay.
So there are opportunities here. All we have to do, we got a railway in Moss Point that's running north. It can extend all the way into Canada. We can bring products down here, containerize it, and we also can take these containers. We can store them in different areas of Moss Point, Pascagoula, Gautier, Ocean Springs, to be shipped out, loaded on barges. It can be loaded in midstream if we don't want to load them at our port, or we can ship them over to Mobile or down into Gulfport. There are so many opportunities for us, and they can be run on 24/7. So it's the opportunity that we got to communicate, like I said earlier, so that we can develop growth to help and bring prosperity to Moss Point, to Pascagoula, to Jackson County, and other surrounding cities.
Sit down, draw up some plans, sit down at the table, draw up some plans, do some brainstorming, and get the ball rolling.
And get the ball rolling,
Yeah.
because if they can do this in Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina,
Savannah, a beautiful place.
we can do it here, okay? So that's why I'm saying, let's communicate, but I can't do it sitting home. I need the people to support me and give me an opportunity to go back. Yes, I made some mistakes.
Okay.
But as you get older, you learn from your
You
mistakes.
learn from your mistakes. That's true.
Wisdom and knowledge go together. It can't be nothing but success.
Absolutely. So, but I think you'll do good if you can get back in there. I think you'll do great.
And I want to do great. You know, another area I'm concerned about, our public safety.
Public safety, yeah. Public
You know,
safety
we have
fire protection.
great fire protection, our first responders, and we have also, you look at law enforcement, these guys are putting their life on the line on cities, counties, as well as the state. You know, I've always supported our state troopers. When they need new cars, let's get them new cars if the budget allows.
Right.
And therefore, we have a surplus, pass it on down to the municipalities, because we have a great chief in Moss Point, we have a great chief in Pascagoula, we have great chiefs in Ocean Springs and Gautier. So all we have to do is just sit down and communicate and make it happen. And let's do what we need to do to bring the right, I guess you say it, coalition together and collaborate together and make it happen.
Make it happen. Now, one of the big issues in this area now, since it's been raining so much, is flooding. Flooding, drainage, you know, and drainage is a huge problem, especially in Moss Point. What can you say about that? What can be done, you think, to kind of change the issues that are problems there?
We'll have to take a long, hard look at our infrastructure. When I said infrastructure, our drainage, our water, our sewer, because I went over there the other day, I couldn't get my pickup truck down on Rose Drive.
Are you kidding?
Oh,
and these people are still living in
They're
that area?
still living in that area. I have pictures on my camera. I wanted to see this for myself.
Okay.
I'm willing to sit down with our mayor, the board of aldermen, the mayor and city council in Pascagoula. Let's go to Washington. Let's find some money. Let's talk to our congressional leaders and see, can we get some money here to do this? My objective is, if we can get this water to go north, to go to the Escatawpa River,
Okay.
then let's do it, you know, but not sit here and keep talking about it.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm willing to roll my sleeves up to get on the bus, the plane, the train, whatever it takes to go find money to do what we need to do to give these people some relief. They have been promised and promised I want to
They're
help.
tired of the flooding.
They're tired. They're sick and tired.
Sick and tired
of
of
being
the
sick
flooding.
and tired.
Sick and tired. Yes,
So
absolutely.
I understand them. If they could just give me this opportunity to help them, I know a lot of them are saying, well, it's broken promises. Your word, your word. We've heard other people come in there. Well, I think if we go to this time, come together, and if I'm elected, I'm willing to get on the plane, train, bus, car, whatever it takes. Let's go to D.C. or either invite them to come down here to talk with us. If there's money available, every other city throughout the United States is being helped.
Right.
We're not the only one that's being flooded. But yes, I am concerned about the people here in Moss Point and
my concern
area.
with Moss Point, even though I don't live in Moss Point, it's something that keep happening over and over again.
It keep reoccurring.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, for the last couple of years, I don't know how many times they have been flooded over there, but it's been quite a bit.
Well, when I was a building inspector, I saw the same thing. Matter of fact, I saw a little bit more.
Okay.
And when FEMA came in, they gave some suggestions, some ideas. And if we didn't tap them at that time, it's going to be difficult to tap them now. But where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to work both ways, a will and a way, to make it happen for the citizens in Moss Point and Pascagoula. Because when we try to send the water south and the tides come in, it backs the water up. And a lot of time they've gone in now, there was a project done, a grant came in to clean out the ditches going south.
Okay.
And it works up to a point, but when the tide comes up, it doesn't work very well.
Right, right.
So I'm willing to sit down with the Corps engineers, again, the mayor, the board of aldermen, and the city councilman of Pascagoula. Let's see what we can work out and make it happen.
And I think if you work as a group, I think you probably can get more done. I don't know if that could happen like that.
It will happen.
It would be more successful for the people in this area.
Well, the economics are dictating to us that we have to start collaborating, coming together, communicating to make sure that we get things done. It's just that simple. It's nothing hard about that to understand.
Right.
But if people will elect me to represent them, I will make sure that we do this. Like I said, I've been to Washington before. I've talked to the congressional delegation. What's wrong with talking with them again? You got Roger Wicker, just to name a few, Benny Thompson, Thad Cochran, Palazzo. You know, these guys are like us, okay? They put their pants on one leg at a time.
Absolutely.
There's nothing hard about talking with them.
Right.
All we got to do, make the phone call, reach across the aisle, put our parties aside, and let's do what we have to do for the citizens of Moss Point and the citizens of Pascagoula.
Now, this is just about Hurricane Peak. Any advice would you have for the viewers out there, especially in Moss Point, about flooding? Anything you could tell them? What can they do? What can they do? Not very much they can do.
Well,
really.
let me give you some firsthand experience.
Okay.
My wife begged me to leave. I stayed through Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, really?
Mitch Ellerby will not do that anymore. If my wife says it's time to go,
let's go.
We're going. And I would recommend that if you know of a hurricane coming, go ahead and fill your cars or trucks up or vehicles up with fuel. Go ahead and get your adequate water supplies, get your adequate ice, get adequate food, medicines,
by all means.
and do all of these things. Contact your local elected officials to see what they have had, and those who can't go, find shelter. Do not stick around, because to me it was horrifying, and by me being a Vietnam vet, I thought I was pretty tough, but when I saw that water came across River Road, I became a different man.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm saved, but I became another saved man. Lord, please don't let nothing happen to me and my family. So that's all my advice is.
Get out.
Get
Get out of
prepared.
town. Right.
If you can leave, leave. If you can't, find shelter.
What do you think about? Do you ever think about? Do you worry about negative words or comments?
Well, at my age now, you know, it's foolish to sit there and worry about negative comments.
Okay.
You move forward. If you make mistakes, you ask for forgiveness for the good Lord. And those of us who are very religious, we always kneel down and pray and ask for forgiveness. And if the public, you know, their perception of me if you don't talk with me, you won't know me.
And in the next few minutes, tell the viewers what you want them to know about you and what you want them to do for you.
What I need your support, I need your vote, I need you to elect me to be your next state representative, because I'm committed to work with you, the citizens of Moss Point, Pascagoula, the elected officials of the area on the county and state level, so that I can help bring prosperity. So don't forget, vote for Mitch Ellerby, your next candidate for the House of Representatives, District 110 in Moss Point, Pascagoula.
And what's the date on the
The election date is November the 5th.
November 5th, okay. And then we'll see what happens. I'm gonna wish you good luck.
Thank you, Addie. I really appreciate that.
And keep working, because I know you're a go-getter, and just good luck for whatever you do.
Well, thank you.
And if you don't become state representative, what you gonna do?
Well, I'll continue to work with the community like I've done over the years. Stay healthy and enjoy my grandbaby.
Oh, you got a grandbaby?
Oh, yes.
How old is he?
He's 3 years old, but look like he's 5.
That must be exciting, isn't it?
It is very
There's nothing better
exciting.
than having grandkids around the house. You
Well,
know?
that's what living is all about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a father, I'm a proud father, I'm a proud grandfather. And I've learned that life is more than sitting under the oak tree. It's about enjoying your family, enjoying your friends, because life to me means a lot to me.
Okay.
When you're a Vietnam veteran, you understand that you're here today and gone tomorrow.
Right.
And with some of the tragedies that have happened in my family, I've
Yeah.
learned over the years, thank the good Lord for my blessings.
Good words, good closing words. I thank you for joining me this afternoon, and I thank you viewers for joining me, and I will see you again next time.